Hi guys, Jay here. It's Sunday afternoon at the time of recording. This might be a long one, so let's get into it. So just a quick recap on the Japanese Grand Prix. It wasn't the best result for me. Team 1 and Team 3 dropping in ranking, but my worst team, Team 2, actually gained in ranking. In terms of the teams themselves, my Team 1, I went with George Russell as my 2 times. I was happy with his performance in FP1 and FP3. Can't really say much about FP2 because of all the fires, but didn't come out as high as I thought he would. And I used my wild card because this team needed a restructure. 125 points, so it wasn't the best day in the office for Team 1. Team 2, however, I had Antonelli as my 2 times, and he got the fastest lap. So he actually outperformed Russell, to my surprise. And so Team 2 scored more than Team 1. Hence they're climbing in the rankings. But again, it was our back markers, our budget builders, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Stroll, that kind of let us down. Behrman did really, really well. P10 in qualifying, P10 in the race. But yeah, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Stroll, very, very lackluster. And then finally for Team 3, currently my best team, 143 points. So they still did score the most out of my 3 teams. But again, not the best. Lando Norris was my 2 times. I will say this, as a McLaren fan, so F1 fantasy aside, purely as a McLaren fan, they should have switched cars. They should have let Piastri go because he definitely had more pace, in my opinion. I know Norris was saving his tyres, but it was coming towards the end of the race. Piastri was constantly in his DRS. They should have switched. That being said, back to F1 fantasy, it does mean that I got more points with Norris than what I would have done with Piastri. But again, Stroll, Ocon, Hulkenberg, lackluster. So yeah. And just quickly, before we get into my team selection, I can confirm that if you use the no negative chip on an inactive driver, it will not work. So I put up a post yesterday afternoon after the qualifying, and I've found the same team in the global league, and I can confirm the no negative chip will not protect you from inactive drivers. So team selection. This is my Team 1, but before we get into this, just want to very quickly point out that out of the global 500, so that's the top 500 in the global league, most of them have used their 3 times and their limitless chips. 70.8% have used their 3 times chip, 98.2% have used their limitless chip, and 50.4% have used the no negative chip. My point here is, for those of us lower in the rankings, this could be beneficial for us later on when we've built our teams. So bear that in mind. Compared to the Patreon 500, it's very, very different. Only 12.4% have used the limitless, only 2% have used the ×3, and only 3.8% have used the no negative. 11.7% though have used the wild card, compared to 2.2% in the global 500. So back to my Team 1. First thing we're going to do is go over to the budget builder, and this is how it looks. In my opinion, it's slim pickings for budget building. And I've spent about the past 2 hours going back and forth in my head what I want to do with my teams. It hasn't been easy, and I don't think I'm in the best position. But that being said, I'm not in the worst position either. Also, big change in the Tier A drivers. I didn't go with Piastri for Japan because he was the least no negative safe, which I explained in my last video. However, he's now the most safe. He only needs 15 points for a 0.3, and a -6 will get him a 0.1. Anthony, Russell, Verstappen, and now Norris has dropped quite a bit. Obviously need points. Norris needing 40 points for a 0.3. So this changes things. I'm personally still a fan of Antonelli as well. He only needs a point for a 0.1 or 19 for a 0.3. Russell is hit and miss, I think, looking at this. 26 points for a 0.3 and 6 points for a 0.1. And Verstappen, again, hit and miss for me. 38 points for a 0.3, 12 for a 0.1. Hamilton and Leclerc not interested. For the B drivers, it's now changed. Originally, your top picks were Behrman, Ocon, Stroll, and Hulkenberg. It's now Hadjar, Doohan, Behrman, Ocon. Anyone else is risky. Say for possibly Lance Stroll, he needs 17 points for a 0.6, and he did get 17 points in China. But if you want to play safe, Hadjar, Doohan, Behrman, and Ocon, going by the budget builder, are the safer options. In terms of the constructors, for the A constructors, take your pick. McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, all safe bets. It's just a case of who scores the most points, which at the moment is McLaren. And for the B constructors, you want to be looking at HAAS and Racing Bulls. Very, very similar. If I was in the right position to do it, I'd probably switch to Racing Bulls from HAAS just for the points. But I also don't think having HAAS is a bad thing either. Like I say, going by the budget builder, it's very, very similar. Williams is fine, 6 points for a 0.6, but obviously Williams costs more. Anyone else, forget about it. You'll have to bear with me because I've been typing notes on Notepad with my plan for Bahrain going into Saudi Arabia. So the plan for Bahrain is to make 3 transfers, which is Russell for Piastri, Hulkenberg for Hadjar, Stroll for Doohan. So obviously this will come with a 10-point penalty. But if I go to the team calculator, and I'm just going to go to 0 transfers for a sec. So this is how it looks for Bahrain. Potential 2.8 budget increase, 127.7 points, minus 10 for me because it'll be an extra transfer, so 117.7 points. I'm fine with that. Then, going into Saudi Arabia, the current plan is to do nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then play Limitless in Miami. Essentially, this will be my budget building team. It's just I'll be doing it over 2 races rather than just at Saudi, preparing for Limitless in Miami. We're looking at potentially around 106.9 million, give or take, going by this as our kind of draft. So this is my team 2. The funny thing is, this is my worst team, but it has the best budget. And the idea here, we say goodbye to Hulkenberg and bring in Hadjar again. We then get rid of Lance Stroll, but we bring in Oscar Piastri and we make him the DRS driver. So I'll be running a Tier A constructor and 2 Tier A drivers on this occasion. This, in theory, brings in 2.7 million with 143.9 points. And then, to maximize budget, complete like full-on budget, trade in McLaren for Racing Bulls. And Antonelli for Jack Doohan, which I know looks crazy, but that has the potential to bring in another 3.1 million. But it does come at a huge gamble because it's only 69 points. Again, the idea would then be to play Limitless in Miami with this team running in the background to build the budget. Very high risk, but high reward if it works out. So this is my team 3. And this is my best team, but it has the worst budget. So the idea here for Bahrain is to say goodbye to Stroll and Hulkenberg, bring in the usual suspects, Hajar, Doohan. That has the potential for 2.6 value increase with 140.3 points scored. And then, and this is what's going to be different, we say goodbye to HAAS, to Norris, we bring in Mercedes and Piastri, and we save Limitless. We don't play Limitless in Miami, we save it. Either that, or alternatively, we make one change, which is Norris to Piastri, and we do play Limitless in Miami, with this being our budget team. So we've got options here, but at the moment, because it's my best team, may swing towards the points and save Limitless, but we'll see. This would bring in potentially 2.5 million with 170.2 points. So just in terms of asset prices, it looks like the floor is 4.5. Gabriel Bortoleto got a -2. He's now 4.5. The same as Hajar. However, the reason I'm not going for Bortoleto at this stage in any of my teams, so you can see here the team that I just showed you, although with Mercedes rather than HAAS, it does score more points, but not as much potential budget. Bortoleto isn't going to increase in budget, and that's a good thing. Hajar has the potential to increase. And so does Jack Doohan. In the meantime, assets like Alonso are predicted to decrease. The same for Hulkenberg. The point being that after Miami, that's when I'm gunning for the points. I've got my target budget-wise that I'm trying to get to, at least as close as I can. And then, yes, I'll be bringing in the cheapest B assets so that I can have the best A assets. That's the plan, at least. In terms of chips for Bahrain, I wouldn't consider any chips, to be honest. The only one might be Final Fix if someone like, Verstappen, Piastri, possibly Norris, if they have a disastrous qualifying and end up at the back. But otherwise, I'm not tempted to play any chip. I thought about Limitless for my team 3, but I think I'd rather hold on to it. I know a lot of people, as I've already said in the video, a lot of people used Limitless in Japan. But my personal opinion is I think there's no reason to use any of these chips. So, further thoughts. My first thought is driver of the day. I've got nothing against Yuki Tsunoda. Love the guy. I'm so happy he's in the Red Bull. Felt bad that he didn't perform as well as he wanted to. That being said, I think driver of the day is becoming a joke for the game. But rather than get negative about it, I thought, why don't we have some fun? And so, what I've got here is who will win driver of the day. We've got a wheel with all the drivers. So we're going to click it and see what the prediction is for driver of the day in Bahrain. And it is Alexander Albon. So Alexander Albon is the prediction for driver of the day in Bahrain, which I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think he'll get it, but it could have been a worse choice. So there you go. Rather than get negative about driver of the day, just thought we'd have some fun with it. Now, in terms of moving forward, budget building versus points. So, for me personally, I would still like to try and build my budget. That being said, I wouldn't blame anyone for now starting to turn towards points, simply because of the way the current structure looks for the budget building, in the sense of there's not many to choose from that are going to guarantee top value increases, at least going by the budget builder. I mean, for example, Piastri, he only needs 15 points for a 0.3. Let's face it, he's going to get 15 points. So what I'm saying isn't entirely true. But what I am saying, it's more the B drivers. So yes, I am focusing on Hadjar, Doohan, Behrman, Ocon. I wouldn't completely rule out Stroll because he needs 17 and he has got 17 before, like I've already said in the video. And again, Tsunoda, if he contain that Red Bull and pick up some good points, like, you know, into the 30s, like Verstappen, or even like 25, then he'd be close to becoming an asset we could think of. I mean, budget-wise, we've got more guarantees with the constructors, with McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, HAAS, and VCarb, and I guess Williams. So yeah, it looks like budget building is going to be harder this year. I know what my target is. I've been playing around on the team builder a few times. I know what my budget target is. Whether I get to it is going to be another thing entirely. So that's why I'm trying to get the budget I want. But like I say, I wouldn't blame anyone if they started turning towards points over the next few races. In terms of the race start, for us in the UK, we finally get a break from waking up early in the morning. Hats off to everyone else around the world that has to get up at ridiculous hours for all the European races. But for us in the UK, Friday practice 1 and 2 is at 12:30 and 4 o'clock. Saturday's practice is at 1:30, and qualifying is at 5 o'clock. So don't forget to set your alarms to make sure you've got your squads confirmed before then. And then the race on Sunday at 4 o'clock. Weather front, as to be expected, it looks like it's going to be fine. It's in Bahrain, so expect, you know, dry race. Temperature wise, hopefully it'll be cool. Look, it's going to be in the evening, but otherwise it should be a straightforward dry race. As for last year's Bahrain, which was obviously the season opener, your top 5 were Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, George Russell. Verstappen will be up there, no doubt. Leclerc, I imagine, will be up there. Russell, I hope, will be up there. And then, yeah, I'd expect the usual, Norris, Piastri. But otherwise, pretty much the same other than Sainz. As for GridRivals, I didn't do as well as I did in China. I scored 782 points. We had Antonelli, Stroll, Behrman, Albon, Bortoleto, and McLaren. Stroll lost me 2 million in budget, and Bortoleto lost me 0.9 million in budget. However, I did gain with Antonelli 0.5 million, Behrman 1.3 million, Albon 0.9 million. That being said, in total, I still lost 200,000. So it's not the worst situation, but it could have been better. In terms of their contracts, I've got Antonelli for Bahrain. I've got Behrman for Bahrain. Albon is now out of contract. Stroll, I may pay a release fee for and change. Same with Bortoleto. And McLaren's now out of contract, so I'll probably go for someone, either a Mercedes or like a Racing Bull. Second thing is just a reminder, if you didn't know, that Ferrari are bringing in a new floor to Bahrain. It was meant to be for Japan, but they held it back. And this is on racingnews365.com. This is reported to include a new floor that aims to provide better performance. The SF25 Challenger is seemingly very efficient, but the rear end is said to be too stiff. The new floor would not simply solve that problem, but it should ensure that Ferrari's strengths are augmented. But again, I wouldn't go anywhere near the Ferrari assets unless you're playing Limitless. So there you are, guys. That is my team thoughts and current plan. Obviously, all subject to changes because we don't know what's going to happen. This may take me a little while to edit down. I imagine I'll have the video up by Monday evening, because I don't know if I'll get it out today. I'll try to, but I need to start watching my health a little bit because I have been overdoing it a little bit. That being said, I do want to say a huge thank you to all the kind messages I've been getting recently on the channel. I really appreciate it. And what's left to say is good luck for Bahrain. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Good luck, and I'll speak to you soon.